Hey, good morning, everybody. Or afternoon. It seems like 12:30 in South by time is morning. That's my whole thing. Welcome, everybody, to the media panel. I'm stoked to be here. And for those of you just in the audience, I know we got a bunch of people who are startup types. How many of you guys who are sitting in the audience are in the midst of building a company right now? Okay? Awesome. So this is your opportunity to really learn from a set of experts I'll introduce in a moment about how you think differently intersecting and interacting with the media very differently than, let's say, your customers or potential investors. And so this whole session is all about how to think in that way. So I'm thrilled to, let me get the right order here, to introduce the panel here. I have Sarah Needleman from the Wall Street Journal, who she'll talk a little bit about. Hamish McKinsey, who's at the end here. Hamish McKinsey, who's with Pando Daily. Also a startup. And Eric Markowitz from Inc. magazine. So give it up for Eric. So what I thought we'd do is I'm going to give these guys a little bit of time, and we'll go in reverse order here, right to left, to just talk a little bit about kind of what they're seeing, how they cover the startup space, and kind of give you guys some tips and tricks. The guys are on the wall here. You guys are all pitching, right? Yeah. Okay. You are about to hear how whatever it is you thought you were going to say when you got up here is not right. So I strongly urge you to fix it. And you in the front, you're totally screwed. So, Hamish, let's get started.
Yeah, right. So I'm from Pando Daily. We're a startup ourselves. We're about a year old. We cover the startup ecosystem, and we try not to do too high velocity. So we usually have between 15 to 20 posts on the site a day, and that allows us to take a more analytical approach to our reporting. We try to look big picture, and we look at analysis and editorial as much as we do pure news reporting.
Okay, cool. Eric?
Just to give some context, Inc. magazine was founded in 1979, so we're definitely not a startup, but we do try to embrace a startup mentality to some extent. I will say that our coverage is sort of bifurcated from print and web. The web stuff is really, we try to be fast and we try to cover news, and we do online features, but really the slow, real magazine reporting comes on the print side. So we really get into a company, a founder's vision of the future. So as it relates to you guys today, I would definitely encourage you to think if you're pitching your company to a web reporter or a print reporter, because it can make a big difference in whether or not you're going to be covered.
And which are you?
I write for both, actually. So I do print features. I'll actually have a feature in the next issue of Inc. In April, but I also do plenty of web stories as well.
Okay, cool. No tips yet. Okay, go.
Okay, well, the Wall Street Journal, as you know, has been around forever.
Since the dawn of time.
And we cover the startup world in many different ways. We have a San Francisco bureau. Naturally, we're headquartered in New York, cover it from both ends. We do online and print. Online, we've expanded a lot, especially recently. We've started a blog called The Accelerators, and on that blog, we post actually content from founders of startups, but more seasoned founders and venture capitalists, attorneys, et cetera, in that world who offer expert advice on a range of topics. And we also regularly publish news, analysis, et cetera, just like these guys here. And a lot of times we do the news you can use, so servicey-oriented pieces, and it really varies, but we cover anything from the range of a feature story about a startup that's really interesting to a broader trend.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to give you guys a chance to give everybody who's about to pitch one tip, something to do or something not to do. We'll start with you, Sarah.
One tip would be to tell me something about how your startup fits into a broader trend as opposed to just your startup. Because generally speaking, if we did a story just about your company only, it would be somewhat akin to an advertisement, and we don't do that. So unless there's something incredibly special or unique about what you're doing, I would recommend pitching something that has a broader context to it.
Okay, everybody in line, none of you are special or unique. Okay? Good. All right, next.
I'll say avoid using very cliched words, which can be like, we're the next social, local, geo, whatever app. I'm more interested in what value it would provide to someone who's using it. Very simple. It's kind of like the Forrest Gump rule. Just explain it so that Forrest Gump could understand it.
Okay. All right. Hamish?
Going the PR route, or don't be too hung up about having a publicist to act on your behalf. We appreciate it more when the founder reaches out directly to us, and try and keep it brief, like a paragraph, get your point across, and if we're interested, we'll get back.
Yeah. How many iPhone screens will it take to get your message across? All right? Short.
Yeah.
All right, guys, so here's what we're going to do, and here's how this is going to work. You guys all have 60 seconds to pitch. You're going to stand right here, okay? And you're going to pitch to the audience. These guys are going to listen. You can make faces. You can give thumbs up, thumbs down, shake your head like this. It's okay. All right? That's it. You got that down, okay? We try not to have violence, but if you feel that compelled, go for it. I mean, we'll work it out. Everybody have 60 seconds. Then each of you guys will have an opportunity to just give some quick feedback. So think in tweets, right? Not paragraphs. And then we'll work through anybody who's interested in pitching and getting feedback live here. If you're not already in line, you have the opportunity to come pitch. We can get the first 10 or so through, and then if you want to get out of your seats and get in line, we'll have plenty of time to go through that. All right. So Ned here is going to give us each of the companies that are going to come up, and then we'll have you guys pitch. I've got the mic here for your pitching, and then Chris Roach. Everybody say hi to Chris. Chris, hi. This is mostly Chris's fault. It's also mostly my fault. So Chris is going to be our timer. When he says you're done, he really means you're done. And Chris has been known to actually pull people off the stage. Okay? All right? You guys ready? You guys know what you're doing? Okay? Who's up first, Ned?
All right, first we have Click With Me Now.
Click with me now. Give it up. Click. There we go. Come on up, guys. There you go.
All right, I'm Mark.
And I'm Brian. We're two of the co-founders of Click With Me Now. Click With Me Now is a web co-browsing technology that's simple to use and was invented to answer three main problems. Can you do it on the screen you're on? Is it frictionless, like is in one click? And is it free to the end user?
And really what we've done is we've evolutionized how screen sharing is happening. We all know of old tools, old screen sharing collaboration tools that exist. We've taken this to the new level and said, hey, how can we make this a truly social tool that meets that border between social technologies and online shopping or things that we may do together online?
Exactly. Some of the initial industries we're doing it in include things like health insurance all the way to retail.
And what we've seen is that we created a tool that really, will help people instantly share the things they want to share with the people they want to share them. We all may know of tools that exist today to do that, but if you measure it against the three things that Brian talked about, which is, can you do it from the screen you're on?
You're done. Okay. Nice job. Give him a round of applause. All right, you guys hold the mic. All right, so stand back there so you can look at these guys. Okay. Who wants to go first?
I like your product a lot. I think I actually mentioned it on an article I wrote. My one piece of advice would be just to explain a little bit how this is not just one little feature, how this is a big company. I think that would get my interest if you explain what the broader vision is.
Okay.
Come talk to us after.
Hamish?
Yeah, I thought it sounded a little bit like interesting products, but a little bit like a sales pitch rather than a story pitch. I want to see why I should have a reason to write about it, apart from it being a good product.
Yeah, I'm not really clear what the story is other than to say, this is what we do. I might be more interested in getting a real-life example of how it helped a client in a big way, something I could picture or see, and then get a better understanding on a broader level as to the category it fits in and why it's newsworthy.
Have you ever used this with your mom?
Yes.
There.
And she can use it.
Okay. So that's a great example of a story to tell. All right, let's give it up for Click With Me Now. Here you go. Yeah, come out this way.
All right, next up we have Modify Watches.
All right, Modify Watches. Come on up. Give it up for Modify Watches. Come on now. I'm wearing one right now, so there's clearly some bias here. I don't know what happened. Here.
Sure.
There you go. There you go. Go ahead.
I already got one.
I'm wearing it.
I got Berkeley.
Okay, go.
Hi, I'm Ayo Oluwale from Modify Watches. I run marketing. So Modify Watches is our first product. They're mix and match faces and straps, different watches for pretty much any individual. We have over 2,000 different combinations that pretty much anyone can build what they want. When we started the company, we saw a trend moving towards bespoke, personalized, and custom products. So we saw brands like Nike ID and Timbuktu and Burberry at all different levels introducing products that people wanted. And so we wanted to create something similar and use a unique twist on existing concept, which was interchangeability. So the big differentiator for our brand is being able to create something that's for the people. It's a brand for the people. So similar to Threadless, we give them a voice and a choice, exceptional customer service like a Zappos. And lastly, we try to create a pretty unique experience for each and every user. So we do things like handwritten notes with every order, throwing in extra product with whenever we send out an order.
That's it. Good. Okay. All right, who wants to go first?
Well, there's a lot of interesting stories about watches at the moment. There's Apple talking about the iWatch, there's the Pebble watch, which had the Kickstarter project. And fair enough, you concentrated mostly on your company, but I would be interested in talking about the watch renaissance or something. That could be a story. But yeah, we need to hear your vision of how you fit into that movement.
Okay. You got it?
It seems, aesthetically interesting to look at. I'm not sure. I don't see any special technological aspect to it. And when you think about Pebble and these Apple products, that's where your mind goes these days when it comes to watches. I could see it maybe fitting in a story about customization, different types of new products coming out in that space, but it seems very static and a little boring and a little ho-hum.
I mean, I think we've seen personalized products for a while now, so I'd be curious to get maybe an interesting story for me would be like the actual manufacturing process behind personalization. That could be an angle that you could try pitching.
All right, cool. All right, thank you.
All right, next up we have Beer Graham.
Beer Graham.
Off to a good start.
Yeah. I think the Beer Graham is the last thing anybody at South by Southwest needs. But go.
Beer. So I'm Andrea. I'm the founder of Beer Graham. We are live in iTunes, just 4 weeks, Austin, Texas startup at Get Beer Graham. So the problem that I wanted to solve was our really just increased hyper-social connectivity. Most of my Facebook friends are from high school. I see them every day. You see them every day. Here's a picture of my kid. Here's a picture of my sick kid. Here's a picture of my boyfriend. Here's a picture of my ex-boyfriend. But beyond like or comment, what can I do for you that's tangible and real? Well, now you can send beer via an iPhone. So what we do is we partner with participating locations, but we have another prong besides just the social tangible layer. We're very craft beer focused. So bars have an interest to list their taps. They have a community of avid beer drinkers. The craft beer revolution in the U.S. right now is what's actually lifting the beer market. 6% of the market, they're responsible for 14% growth. So what does this mean to you? It means, where is the beer that I want to drink?
All right, that's it. Okay, good job. Okay.
It's fascinating. I'd be curious to know more about the legalities of sending beer online.
Go ahead.
We are viewed as a transfer of payment, which is essentially what you're doing is you are gifting a tangible good, but we as Beer Graham, we're the mover of money. So we aren't technically selling the good because it's being delivered in a physical location. So the legality for us was every state has kind of the same, Texas is very difficult, but we did that hurdle right away. But we're basically viewed as a mobile gift cert, but we actually tie the users to selecting a certain location and a style of beer because it promotes a real community instead of I got a beer or I don't have a beer, but what's the conversation? I mean, what is pulling people together? And since craft breweries are small, they have this real grassroots marketing effort that's led by their users. And so now there's there's a fragmented landscape of how you get information about beer. You can use Twitter or my friends will email me.
That was a really long answer to his question. But it was clever of you to extend the answer to try to tell more. Okay? Go.
I think that all that stuff you just told us there was a much better story pitch than what you got up and told us in the first place. A lot of the times people get up and say, the problem we're trying to solve, I heard you say that, and I think that must be taught in business school, because we hear it and we're like, I mean, that's kind of, well, to me it's irrelevant. I don't really care about what problem you're trying to solve. I want to know why it should affect people, or why they should be interested in reading it.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
The feedback I would give is just the first few minutes or seconds of your pitch threw me off. It took a while to get to the beer point, and the fact that you're using a social way of sending beer. So I would kind of cut to the chase a little bit more, and like you said, go into maybe the legalities of it, even if there aren't any. That's a natural question I think that might come up, how it works, the functionality, and maybe how you're going about marketing yourself.
Cool.
Awesome. Thank you. So,
Thanks, guys. I'll take that. So, hang on one second. So, a really important point here, Hamish, you teed it up here, is you can jump off. That's fine. I'm not going to abuse you anymore. So, I think what you said though is what does my audience want to read? Okay, so a big part of this is it's not just about what these guys are going to write. Their whole world is about who's going to want to read this. Okay, so as you're thinking about making your pitch, think about who their audience is. The Wall Street Journal audience and the Pando Daily audience are different audiences, right? So there's a subtlety to it that you got to be tuned into. All right, Ned, who's up next?
Up next is HomeSnap.
HomeSnap, bring it on up. Let's give it up for HomeSnap. So there we go.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay, your time starts. Let's go.
I'm Guy Wolcott, one of the creators of HomeSnap. A year ago to the day, pretty much, 3 of us came down to South by Southwest, and we had a real estate app, a one-feature real estate app in a dream. And I came to this stage, and I pitched, even Eric, I remember pitching. Fortunately, that one feature was really cool, and it fit on the back of our T-shirt, and it still does today, which is you can snap a picture of any home in the country to find out all about it. And on the back of that one feature, HomeSnap has been become one of the top 5 apps in the App Store. Walt Mossberg reviewed it in the Wall Street Journal. It was on the Today Show. And now we're back here. We had all that success despite Eric not writing about us at all. So,
bad pitch. Just seemed like the right thing. Go, you were using your time.
So, we're back here this year. We've built an entire brand around that one killer feature. So we now have a complete mobile real estate solution. We're trying to build the best mobile real estate app. We think real estate is the place for mobile, and we think there's a real opportunity to take on the big guys. And we think we've done that with HomeSnap.
All right, that's it. Good job. All right, you can just hang on to it for now.
I still have no idea what you do.
Okay.
That's my advice.
That's a problem. Okay. We'll come back to that one. Go.
I have a bit of an edge because I do know what HomeSnap does because I've interviewed Guy before and I just wrote about him recently. The one thing I would say for my audience is we do a lot of news you can use, as I was saying. So I'm curious, how does HomeSnap make money? Who are your biggest competitors, and where you're going with this? Besides this one feature of taking the pictures, what's the bigger picture learning lesson that other entrepreneurs could possibly take away from your experience?
Hamish?
The one interesting thing you said to me was, of many interesting things, but was real estate is for mobile or something like that. And I think that's potentially an interesting story to look into, but the rest of it sounded like sales pitch.
Yeah, my feedback on it is that since he didn't get it, you spent a lot of time explaining a context that actually didn't help you sell the story, right? The fact that you were here and you give her back, who cares, right? Like, what did you do? How did you make something magical happen? Well, but that's my point. Like, you used up a lot of your time. If you only got 30 seconds on the elevator with Eric, like, how are you going to get to it right away? Sure. Okay? All right, cool. Thanks for HomeSnap.
All right. Next up is Tag.
All right, give it up for Tag. Come on now.
Oh, thank you.
Hello, I'm Ryan Frazier. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Tag. Tag is an enterprise software company. We have a web dashboard that marries social data with the internal business data, like sales, for our enterprise clients. Kind of how we differentiate from like a Radiant 6 is what we do is, two kind of our major kind of tech developments is like a quality score or data rank algorithm where we filter all the data coming in so you're only getting like the best data. Kind of like a search engine. Whenever you run a search on our dashboard, one of the top things you see should be what you're looking for. So if you're looking for people talking about price or packaging or something like that, we're going to show you the the most qualitative or the highest ranked comment. Then we also have really flexible data collectors. So if we're working with a company like in golf, we'll actually go out and not just Facebook and Twitter, but like golf e-commerce stores, golf blogs, golf forums, so that we get the full comment. Oh.
That's it. Okay, good job. All right, go first.
It sounds somewhat interesting, but I need a concrete example to picture what you're saying. So if you said, have you ever wondered, if you're a business that sells golf balls, and you've ever wondered how many people are looking at your website or how many people are tweeting about golf, I'm not sure you would. I need some sort of a visualization of it, how it works for a specific company, and then I can kind of get the broader gist of it. But from that, it went over my head a bit.
Yeah, I will say, I'd be happy to geek out about data with you. It's something that it's fun to talk about. It's very rarely something that's interesting to read about unless there's actually a real story behind it. So I think you need to couch whatever work you're doing or whatever data that you see into some overall bigger picture story that's been sort of informed by industry trends that you've noticed.
Okay. Go.
And the only thing I'd say is just break it down into a little bit plainer English. Like assume that we're dumb and don't know anything about this shit, and then start from there.
And you'll be close. You got to get a little lower than that. And you're good.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. All right. Thanks. Good job.
Up next is Streamix.
All right. Give it up for Streamix.
Hello, I'm Chun Win. I'm with Streamix. I just want you guys to imagine you're out in the town with friends, and you just simply want to hear your song be played for once. Or perhaps you're a bar owner who wishes their drinks revenues were higher. So what's the solution? Streamix. It's the new DJ-inspired, crowd-curated, seamless music experience. So features that Streamix may have are, perhaps you want to dedicate a song to that guy or girl you've been wanting to talk to all night at a venue, or perhaps you just want to become the DJ right from your own mobile phone. Now, what makes this different is that because our beat matching and pitch matching algorithms, it creates a seamless music experience. There's no gaps, gapless playback, there's no buzzkill. So why take my word for it? Well, because I'm a geek and a DJ as well. Thanks.
All right, cool. Stay there.
I'm a little. I'm not sure I understand exactly how it works. I'm hearing something about like Pandora, Spotify type stuff at a bar. I don't know if. I'm just not clear on what it does, how you make money, where you're going with this. I'm lost.
Hamish, where do you go?
Yeah, like it's a jukebox app, right?
It's kind of like a jukebox app. Yeah.
So anyway, and this problem keeps happening. I think you get up and do a sales pitch and a product description, but why would we write about it? Like, what's interesting to read is that another jukebox app exists.
Yeah, I would tell more of your story. Maybe there's like an interesting reason that you decided to do this, and probably a million other things that you could do in life.
And a quick response.
Response
to that would be.
Go, use the mic.
Yeah, a quick response to that would be, while everyone's into a seamless experience, it affects current jukebox applications. There's a gap between each song, so there's still dead silence between the song, and so it just doesn't mesh well. And so that in turn, creates that kind of awkward experience.
But yeah, you're defending the product, but not really elucidating the story.
Right.
Maybe your DJ background of how you got the idea for it, something.
Yeah,
you're like this DJ nerd apparently. That
but give it away.
It's like clearly
the Stormtrooper T-shirt.
Right. So you're like I don't know. You're like a bro DJ nerd guy. That's interesting.
Gym rat, something. Yeah, you might lead with that actually. All right, thank you. Give up. So hey Ned, hold on one second. So this has come up a couple of times. So. How important and powerful is sort of the personal story?
Yeah,
and what are those elements there?
Well, I'd say it depends, right? Like I think if you have a very unique story, then you should tell it. If you're, quite frankly, if this is sort of, if you come from like an engineering background and you worked for a startup for a while and then you just decided this was something you wanted to tackle, that's sort of a more standard route that you see a lot in the Valley. So it's not really going to stand out too much.
So if you've got something that's a background story or something that inspired you, because you brought this up, sir, like tell that part of it?
That or how the product actually helps people's lives. An anecdote. I'm really into the anecdotes about There's a time at band camp and that sort of thing, or how I got the idea, or Jane Doe used it in this way and changed her life. But I need some sort of at least for me, I need some sort of a story that brings it into very 10th grade, simple. This is how it went down.
We made it up to 10th grade. Anything else to add on that point about personal?
We're total suckers for putting a face in the story, and people like to read about humans, and they like less to read about products and apps, I think.
Okay, so those guys who are pitching, this is a cue for you, okay? All right, who's up next, Ned?
All right, up next is Tapper.
Tapper, let's go.
For the record, I had no clue what I just signed up for. I was just in line over there. So let me tell you a story. I'm Ryan, and I'm from Milwaukee. We're also kind of considered the beer drinking capital of the world. But what Milwaukee isn't known for is a company for having really good tech startups. We're not on the map for Wall Street Journal or any like TechCrunch. So we're a team of engineers and business developers to try to put our company on that map. And we somehow all came together, and our fit is with the mobile payment world. So Google Wallet, PayPal, and Square. We're doing that with mobile drink ordering, which fits well with our target market in Milwaukee. And what we're trying to do is grow and make people's lives easier at the bar by ordering through their phone.
Awesome. Okay. I'll let you guys comment. Go.
I thought that was pretty good. It's a little bit of background about Milwaukee and the scene there. Not totally sure I understand how the product works, but I have an inkling of it. Might be interested in knowing a little bit more about how it's actually used, how you make money, and any sort of learning lesson you had along the way to get to this point, perhaps.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I'd say if you're going to lead with Milwaukee, just make that your pitch, and make it a pitch about this young, growing company in Milwaukee that maybe has struggled with the idea of moving to somewhere like San Francisco or New York, but has decided to stay in Milwaukee, and why you made that decision.
Even be conscious, like that's quite a common story now as well. Like every town's got a startup scene now, and everyone's trying to build the startup community. But I thought it was a pretty good pitch, and
it's like my day job.
So we write about that a lot, and I do especially. And but I thought the pitch was good, and the beer angle was good. Like we're the home of beer, and we're going to help you order beers more easily. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, I was actually going to comment that really leading off of yours that I think probably 2 or 3 years ago, being from someplace else was actually a differentiator. Now it's like, oh, it's cool, you're from Milwaukee. So you're going to have to amp it up another level because it's not just you out there in the world in a place that isn't San Francisco or New York, because there's a lot of action going on at this point. So
tell us which neighborhood of Milwaukee.
Yeah. The ones with the bars. All right, Tapper.
Thanks for not making fun of me.
All right, there you go.
All right, up next is Huddled.
Hold. All right, let's go. Give it up for Hold.
We're actually here at South by Southwest debuting our new product, TinySuite. And what sets us apart is that we actually are giving analytics and data stats front to back. We're giving the users a fully integrated 5-social network app, Foursquare, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram, all in one app that's easy to use and people enjoy using it. And it's actually simpler to use than the native apps. On the back end, because we can build a user profile around all 5 apps, we aren't giving a fragmented data analysis. And on our data analysis, we're actually using natural language processing to analyze a tweet. So you analyze it with the context of the meaning rather than what it is. Like if somebody says something is the bomb, most analytics say that's bad. Ours actually takes the context of the human meaning behind that and says it's a good thing. And we can turn that data over to advertising companies and statistical companies and give them a more accurate representation of what their data really is.
All right, there you go. Okay.
I think this is an interesting story, like how to make sense of our social feeds, and we're overloaded with content and things. But I think you should have led with that as your angle rather than tell us too much about the product.
Yeah, I think you used the phrase data analysis one too many times in there, and like I said, I mean, I could geek out on data. It's interesting, but it's very hard to craft a story around it. So when you're pitching media, it's very different than when you're pitching investors.
Okay. Jerry, you want to say?
Yeah, I'd like a practical example of how somebody would benefit from using it, whether it's enterprise or consumer, which I wasn't totally sure, but I'm guessing enterprise. But for example, you would use it to do blank, and with that information, you can get blah 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 out of it. I need some sort of practical example.
Yeah, I think the common theme, just to touch on that a little bit, is you guys have all done this, which is not giving imagine and you've got, I don't know, 10 brands up there, right? Imagine you're the guy at Pepsi or the gal at Pepsi who has to do blah, 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 right? It sucks, right? And here's what the answer is, right? So
can I get a rebuttal to that?
If you can do it fast.
Our app actually allows you to manage all of your social networks and post to them simultaneously. So for bloggers, for writers, you can post to your Twitter, your LinkedIn, your Facebook all at once and be concise with your message and not have to go to different services.
Got it.
Sounds a lot like TweetDeck.
Or Hootsuite.
Yeah, or FriendFeed.
It doesn't really sound like a story.
I think you should get off the stage now before we... There you go. Let's go. Give it up. We all had one in about 10 seconds. Who's next?
There's no way that I say this right, but I believe it's Sulijam. Sulijam.
All right, let's go. Bring it up.
My co-founder Nika and I come from first-generation immigrant families. We were the first in our families to attend a large university in a city far away from home. After Berkeley, we moved yet again. Washington, D.C. for me, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil for Nika. This past summer, we moved to Fayetteville, Arkansas to participate in the Business Accelerator program and found ourselves facing the same reoccurring issues we've had every time we moved. Finding accurate, up-to-date local information is extremely hard to do in a city where you don't have friends and family. And that's where Suligan comes in. Suligan digitalizes word of mouth. We provide local information with an efficiency, accuracy, and human touch that typical search sites do not. We put you in connection with the people best able to provide up-to-second updates about any city, aka the locals. Since our launch last month, we've already been featured as the top 10 apps to download by PC Magazine. We're available for download on iOS and will be on Android later on this week. Remember, you're not a hooligan, you're a Suligan, and we're making social search cool again. Thank you.
Wow, all right. Hey, stay here. Stay up here. You can't escape until they get to give you some advice or tips. It was a nice try. You had sneakers on. That was a good start. All right, who wants to go first? As the train goes by in the back. Sarah, go.
I thought that was a pretty good pitch. I understand the story of how you came up with the idea and how it's practical. I might sprinkle in an example of something that would come up on your app that would be like, the coolest venue for rock bands if you're in such and such town or you're there. Again, a little bit more of the practical use of it. And then maybe some information about how you monetize if you're venture-backed. Just sprinkle in a couple of details like that might be helpful to get me thinking in terms of a story idea.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it was actually a really good pitch. I think one thing I would add would be to explain a little bit your future vision of the company, especially for a publication like Inc. We really want to feature entrepreneurs that are thinking big and not just as an app, and I'm sure you do have a bigger vision.
Okay. Go.
And I'm just interested in a little bit more how different is it from Yelp and those sorts of services?
Do I have a few seconds?
Go.
So what we do is we provide a live feed of rants and raves in any city, so you can rant and rave about little things. And we feel that we're different from Yelp because we're providing local sentiments and current culture on any city. So with Yelp, you're putting reviews usually about restaurants. But with us, you can rant and rave about this session right now. You can rant and rave about the weather, street closures, local businesses, little cookies that you had, at a corner bakery. And so people get in real time a live update of everything that's going on, not just about local businesses, but anything. And we think our vision is that one day everyone can travel and move anywhere in the world and without knowing a single person there can find local information, what the locals know. So kind of like Airbnb, where you can go anywhere and find housing, you can go anywhere and find local information from the locals.
All right, Suligans, good job. Ned, hang on 1 second. So, Sarah has been hammering on this, and not one of you guys has actually paid any attention. So I'm going to try to get you to pay attention. This would be to you guys in the yellow shirts, okay? Sarah has asked 4 times, how do you make money? This is the Wall Street Journal, okay? This isn't the, cool app stuff, okay? This is like Wall Street, go public stuff. How do you make money? All right, and I'm sure Inc. and Panda Daily also would like to know how it is that you plan on being here next year to be able to talk about the same company, which would mean at some point you need actual customers who pay you for stuff. Okay, so DealFlix, you're up next, right? Let's go. Come on up, give it up for...
Great. So my name's Sean, and as a UC Berkeley student, I was skinny, I was sober, and I was single. And so I watched a ton of movies, good ones, bad ones, pirated, Netflix, you name it, I watched it. And one of the things that I knew was that there were a ton of empty seats in the movie theater. I did some research. Right now, 88% of movie theater seats are empty. 95% are empty after opening weekend. But over $40 billion are spent on movie tickets, popcorn, and soda. That doesn't even include nachos. So I had the idea for Dealflix, a price line for movie tickets. Thanks. And so, inspiration. Have a poster on my wall. So we started this thing, and we sold thousands of tickets. We're in 100 locations now and growing. And we just launched our iPhone app this week. It's in the new and noteworthy category if you look in your app store. And things have been growing really great. We've been featured on NBC, CBS, the New York Times, a couple others, TechCrunch, and we're part of 500 startups. So we're also giving away free popcorn at 2 o'clock over in the big auditorium over there. So come get some free Dealflix popcorn, and we have some free movie tickets to give you guys. Zach's going to hand out some little movie tickets. You can put the code in on the app and get some cool movie tickets.
All right, good job. You still didn't answer Sarah's question, but hold off on that. Go.
Well, I feel like this pitch was more for the audience. I mean, I really respect your energy and the way you came up, and you were funny, and that's always a good thing to have some humor and passion. But I'm still not quite totally clear on what it is you do, how you monetize, who your customers are, and if you have venture funding. There are a lot of questions left in my mind. And if the point is to pitch us for a print, I have nothing to work with here.
Cool. I'll see you at 1:30, actually, of Off-Stars. But
all right, so hold that thought. Man, go ahead.
One thing that I think you guys probably agree with is that drives me nuts is when I get a pitch that's like, we've been featured in the New York Times. And it's like, well, good for you. Right. Then there's no longer a story here.
You don't need us.
So that would be my one critique.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I think the biggest story is the empty seats in movie theaters, and how you might be part of a large group of people trying to solve that problem. Oh, I said solve that problem. Whoops.
Yeah. Like the inventory problem is obviously a big problem.
It's a huge problem. Right now, the only way you can buy movie tickets is with Fandango or MovieTix.com, and they both charge convenience fees. So it's actually more expensive if you go to Fandango than if you were to literally just walk in a movie theater and use your credit card or cash.
But there's Movie Pass as well, which is trying to solve it with subscriptions.
Movie Pass is interesting because there's a 1-year contract, and also you can only see up to 1 movie a day. And
it's but here's 3 lessons here. You didn't tell us how you made money. I told you to come up and tell us how you make money. Second is you basically insulted the people by talking about media that you already gotten, so why would they write about you, which is what Eric brought up. And third is don't debate the reporter. All right? So, like, how do you want to tell the story? Hey, that's a really good point. You know, what we do is different. In other words, go with them, not against them. Okay?
Sure.
All right?
Yeah, so real quick, how we make money.
No, get out of here. Dealflix. Good job. You had your chance. I told you. Okay? Come on. Who's next? Oh, that's a problem.
So we're at the end of the prepared list. So now I'll have people introduce themselves as they come up.
All right. There you go. Let's do it.
Hi, I'm Brian. My last company, I needed handwritten letters, so I created MailLift. As you saw with your audience, someone that came up with the Mod Watch, they write handwritten letters to every person that they sell a product to. And that may be what takes them up, but that doesn't scale along with them. They have to hire people. So what we built is an API for handwritten snail mail. We literally have a team right now and a machine that we're investing in that does pressure-sensitive handwritten snail mail. So is snail mail dead? I disagree, but we think spam mail kind of should be. This is more of a white hat snail mail tactic.
So you've invested in a machine that's handwritten, that's not actually hand.
Exactly.
No, they're cadaver hands.
But
they're actual hands.
Right. But isn't your core value proposition that it's handwritten?
But it's not really handwritten?
But it's a machine. Yeah. So how is it any different than a computer printing it?
No 2 letters look the same.
So it's a broken printer, basically.
So print something out and just crumple it a little bit.
Yeah. So that's what we built. We're looking with teams in retention, et cetera, to help them solve some problems.
So one part is you actually engaged them, right? So they're like, what are you talking about? So that's actually good. I'm not sure you have a business, but it's you have an opportunity. Any other feedback for him?
Yeah, okay. I think it's, is it for consumers or businesses?
Businesses. So pretty much if they don't have clients that bring in $300 a month each, they're not really in our pipeline.
Okay. I am fascinated by it. I think it's interesting. I might, with the mail closing on, no longer being on Saturdays, and something about the way people don't use the mail as much, there may be something in there to pitch your story. I think you have something here, but I'm not sure what yet. And
We should talk about it later?
Yeah. Any other feedback?
Yeah, mine, especially because I write for a blog, like I would write this story as like a what the hell kind of story, and I think that you could actually use that to your advantage. We're the handwritten letter company that doesn't actually do handwritten letters. And
sounds good.
Yeah, I thought that the point about the mailbox being kind of white space now, right? There's a bunch of junk in it, but not a lot of other stuff that's really personalized in some way. And so,
did that resonate with you guys?
Yeah, you might even say, when was the last time you got a handwritten piece of mail from a company? To kind of get people's brains thinking about how, gee, this is unusual. Maybe something.
No, definitely. Like if I've ordered a pair of jeans online and it comes with a handwritten note, like, yeah, I appreciate that. So that's the more human interest side to it.
Good. All right, cool. All right, Ned, who's next?
I'm going to guess Rep.
All right, come on up. Let's go.
My name is Michael Bergman. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Rep. A couple years ago, my wife and I, she's my co-founder, we met speed dating. And before she let me go out on a date with her, she background checked me, she Googled me, she Facebooked me. And my name is Michael Bergman. There's a lot of Michael Bergman. So there's a problem. We're all meeting these strangers online, Airbnb, Craigslist, online dating, and we don't know who we're meeting. So we've created Rep. It's the verified profile for people connecting. You actually create your own profile. We verify you through the same technology the government uses to verify your identity. You run your own background check, and you put context or anything in your background check. You add your social media, and then you can share it however you want. You can embed it wherever you want, and it's totally portable. So you can take it from site to site. So you can create it. You can create it through a partner site, like a dating site or anything like that. We're free right now. We'll be adding other features. So when you run a background check, we charge for that. We're going to allow you to verify your profile photo, too, and we'll charge for that, too. So check it out at myrep.com.
Cool. All right, nice job.
I actually thought it was a really strong pitch because it explained how you got the idea and a practical reason for why it exists. You offered an explanation of how you plan to make money. I might be curious at this point, finding out if you have venture funding, what type of ways you're going to get the word out about this product. And it seems like a one-time thing, so I'm curious where you're going with it further down the road, but I thought for the most part it was a pretty good introduction to your business.
Thanks. It's a problem a lot of people are trying to deal with, and LinkedIn about me. So I want to hear what's really different about you guys, and so far I'm not convinced.
I would talk more about your shirt.
Online, I mean, this is the problem, that we don't know who we're connecting with on the other side.
But I'm serious. I mean that in the sense of you should talk about your marketing campaign, because it seems like that's something that you've thought about pretty clearly, and maybe you're trying to make a splash with that shirt, and it definitely catches people's attention. So work that into the pitch.
I'm more curious about which part's not true on your T-shirt. So I just want to know where the emphasis is.
After a couple of drinks, we'll figure that out.
Okay, good. All right, well, give it up. Thanks. My rep.
Up next is Modulus.
All right, come on. Let's go.
Hi, I'm Charlie Key, CEO and co-founder of Modulus. We help companies and developers spend less time setting up and administering servers. We do this by offering a scalable hosting solution. This means anybody who's creating a Node.js application can upload it and scale it out from small to large in just a matter of clicks. This helps developers get back to doing what they want to do and not managing servers. They want to build the product and help your company make money. So get them to do that, and do this by scaling it, uploading it to Modulus, and using that. Thank you.
Okay. Good job.
Just quickly, B2B companies are really tough to pitch to media because they're just inherently not geared towards consumers who are our readers. So I think you need to a whole new pitch, honestly, because it tells us what you guys do, but there's really no story behind there.
Did you have something to add?
I mean, we do cover B2B space at the Journal. That's totally fine. But I guess I'm, again, curious how you're monetizing or what you're charging. I'm curious a little bit more about the space. It's just very straightforward. It's fine. but I don't really see an interesting story. I feel like maybe about maybe again an example of how a company missed a deadline because the developers were so busy dealing with a server and it created this big problem, and had they had your product, that wouldn't be the case. Maybe something like that. I'm not too sure, but right now it's just very ho-hum. It's not bad, it's just ho-hum.
Sure. Okay, yeah, you probably don't even want to worry too much about trying to get consumer-oriented media. You want to play in the trade press. And
Sure,
Pando Daily is a little bit of a trade publication, so it might make sense for us. We've got developers who are readers and investors who are interested in companies like yours. But also a lot of people doing what you're doing, I think, and you have to provide a compelling point of difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Great job. Thanks for being here.
Up next, Makeout Labs.
Makeout Labs. All right. We should get you with that other guy. All right, come on up here.
And we're exactly what we sound like. So sites like OkCupid make money off douchey guys spamming attractive women. And that's the number one problem.
She looked at me when she said that. Okay.
That's the number one issue with online dating, is women getting too much spam and quitting. We've solved this with the first spam filter in online dating. We're also part of a bigger trend towards open web activism. We're letting users generate their own online dating communities. I came up with this idea when my partner left me to go live in a van down by the river. We're still very good friends. We've been coding together for years, but the publisher of Heed magazine said to me, someone needs to build a better Jewish dating site, and you're the person to do it. My co-founder is a Y Combinator alum who has a background throwing house parties to get frat guys laid.
Cool.
Oh, and we make money with ad deals that are already in place and premium features. Online dating is a $4 billion industry growing really fast.
All right, there you go. Good job. Makeout Labs. Who wants to go? Who wants to take this one?
Sure, I'll take it. Why not? I think this goes back to like personal founder stories that are particularly interesting. I think if you could lead with that story about your partner leaving you and sort of how that feeling transitioned into how you're going to fix this problem. That's an interesting story to me.
I would maybe look at the online dating space, because it really is exploding now. And actually, Pando Daily did a pretty interesting story on it a couple months or weeks ago about these new dating sites. So maybe there's a story in like when you're building a startup in a niche that's growing fast, and how do you differentiate yourself from the competitors, and just the challenge of being an entrepreneur in that position, because you've already maybe started something. Maybe there weren't that many competitors, but by the time you had it out in the market, all of a sudden, wow, everybody else is here. So I might be interested in knowing how you deal with that problem, more so than the actual specific product, but because of the space you happen to be in.
That's actually really interesting, because 2 different Jewish dating sites came out like since I had the idea, and then launched like our first channel.
Cool. Yeah. Hamish, you guys did a story on this. I don't know if you covered it.
Dating is not my area of expertise, but
I meant on your day job.
Sorry, you're right. Yeah,
not here at South by. Not at night.
No, I'd reiterate. Yeah, your boyfriend left you to go and live in a van by the river. That's a good entree to the story, at least. And then another angle that I'm kind of interested in is like this specific niche dating sites, but like this Christian Mingle, I think, is another one in Jewish dating sites. And why is this phenomenon happening? Why isn't OkCupid serving this market? And the other thing I would say is like just a warning, like to say that your pitch about OkCupid being a bunch of douchey guys spamming girls. Probably a lot of our readers will be those douchey guys, so we might not respond well to that.
Yeah.
Although maybe they should.
Not a good idea to put down necessary competitors per se. I would avoid doing that.
Okay.
That's a really good point. Okay, cool. Thank you very much. All right.
Okay.
So let's just pause on that for a second. So it's interesting. We talked about earlier about saying, don't bring up that you wrote a story in the New York Times or got a story in the New York Times, for example. But the notion of insulting your audience, right, or kind of bashing a competitor as opposed to differentiating yourself from a competitor, those are kind of key things, right? Because you're not going to write that story, because you might write a story the next day about somebody else, and you're not going to go after it unless you have a particular editorial point of view. So as you're thinking about how you're finding your space, keep that audience in mind, but also figure out how you differentiate yourself in a positive way. Go ahead.
I just had, the 3 of us are all very niche publications about the startup world, and our readers, I mean, there are differences, but we're not writing for the consumer who's going to necessarily buy our product, or at least not for oops, not for me. It's about the entrepreneur, and stories about building businesses. So it's not so much about, I'm not going to write a story about how consumers can find a date in this case. I'm going to write a story about your actual business, how you made it, how you came up with the idea, how you got funding, and things like that. So just keep that in mind. If you're writing for a consumer publication like, I don't know, like a People magazine or something, maybe then you're writing about the customer who's going to be using your product. And that's a big distinction, I think.
Do you guys want to pile on there at all?
Yeah, well, we're a business publication, and just to keep that top of mind, I guess. And the readers who are reading us, they might be interested in the trade because it's kind of a broad sort of industry. But we're very much focused on how is this going to work as a business.
Keep the business, the context in mind. You know, the other thing you just said around telling the story behind the startup, that's come up a bunch of times here, and that's often the way to get your story told that actually does bring you customers, because trying to go head on is not interesting, right? And you're much more interested in what's going on behind the scenes, which, by the way, gets the website address and all the other things out that you want to get out, and allows you to say to the next reporter, hey, I was covered in Inc. magazine, the Wall Street Journal, and Pando Daily. All right, so who's next?
Up next is Junkio.
Junkio, come on up, let's go.
How are you guys today?
We need to give you a round of applause. Don't start it yet, because that was like totally lame. Okay, now don't disappoint us. Go.
No worries. My name's Adam. I'm the co-founder of Junkio. It's a spin-off of a current successful startup that we did 5 years ago, and it's very simple. I'll make it very easy. Some of you will admit this, even the panel up here, some of you won't, but we decided to take a chance and look on how we can actually get social with professional athletes, superstars, A-list celebrities that we follow on Twitter anyway, and figure out what they can do with extra items, i.e., we call it their junk. So they have stuff, they're on tour, they have items, they have jerseys, and let's figure out and put a spin on it and what we can do to raise money for charity. So since we already have an access to that full distribution, which is great and the hardest thing to do, what we decided to do is just deal with them and deal with their favorite charities. So how can we do that on a global scale, all in one area through Junkio? It's safe, social, and it's selling items that basically my daughter spends $5,000 a year on Justin Bieber anyway, but it's going to a marketing company. My wife on Justin Timberlake concerts and stuff like that.
That time? All right, good. Very good. Nice job. Okay? Justin Bieber. Come on, bring it.
All right. Well, I think it's a charity, right?
It's the bottom line is yes, we're monetized by a percentage of just like processing it, but basically we're allowing the consumer, because the global, I didn't have enough time, sorry.
So you're just the sort of middleman between.
Aggregate.
Okay, so I think people, myself included, want to be able to give away stuff to charities and don't have a good way to do it. I think that's a good entry point for a story, but you didn't get to that until about 40 seconds in. I understand. But that's sort of what you should lead with, because you started with like athletes and like celebrities, and I was a little bit unclear about that. But if the core business proposition is that you're allowing people to give to their charities, that seems like a novel idea.
And at the same time, I mean, to answer the question, is to the same time as being able to have the time, you don't have time or the money to go see that celebrity and get something from them at the same time, but you're getting a tangible item and everybody wins.
So just to clarify, it's for everyday people to get rid of their junk, not just celebrities get rid of their junk.
Thank you. So, and your shoes are badass, by the way. I'm a shoe guy, so, but
Thank you.
There's little props that maybe get written up. No, the bottom line is the ultimate goal in 3 to 5 is to go consumer to consumer. I'm not going against Craigslist. We know there's millions of going after Craigslist killers and eBay fraud. We've figured out a way to do that through a safe portal of purchasing, but that's another time I'd love to send to you guys.
I'm interested.
You got that.
I'm interested enough to hear more, so I think it was relatively effective.
Yeah, I'd only add that it sounds like you're in the social good space, do-gooding space, or
it's kind of, well, in all fairness, what we're doing is, how am I going to go against Craigslist from day one? No, and I'm going to give you guys a card. So our 5-year, we have a product already that has access to the A-list celebrities in the distribution channel. That's why I led with that.
Right?
I've already got it, yeah.
Right. So you're the platform.
But I want to move it over too, but I'll be the platform that we created. So I'll send you more. It's a little more
Okay, yeah, I'm a little
complicated.
confused, but okay.
Thanks for coming. This is our core business, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Thank you.
Sorry,
And
thank you.
we'll talk afterwards. All right, good job. All right, how are we doing on time, Ned?
We are dwindling down, so we're going to go as quickly as we can here through the last couple of folks, and this
Okay.
is Realty Mogul.
All right, here we go. Realty Mobile. Come on, let's go. Pass clap.
Our company, Realty Mogul, is taking advantage of an economic opportunity and a political opportunity. From an economic perspective, people are sick and tired of making less than 1% in the bank, and they want to take advantage of real estate. It's coming back. From a political perspective, the Jobs Act passed recently, and we do crowdfunding for real estate. We're a marketplace for accredited investors to pool money online and buy shares of pre-vetted investment properties like apartment buildings, office buildings, and retail. We are funded, we are a Techstars alum, and we make money through administrative fees. Thank you.
Cool. That was fast. How many seconds was that, Chris? 34 seconds. There you go. Go.
Well, congratulations on having the shortest pitch. That's really good. I think that's a really good pitch. I'd be more curious to go into the legalities of it. I know that there's investing through crowdfunding is not totally 100% figured out yet through the SEC. So I'd be curious to know how much sort of rests in the balance of what the SEC decides.
For us, absolutely not. We're starting with a beachhead and accredited investors, so we're using existing securities exemptions.
Okay, I didn't hear accredited. Yep. Okay, cool.
I might tie it to the subprime crisis as well and see why this might make it better, or could it exacerbate it, or those sorts of problems of people placing dodgy bets and now the whole world being able to make them rather than just the finance industry. So I'd be interested in tying into that angle, but I think it was a good pitch.
Yeah, I have to echo that. I thought it was a really strong pitch. It brought in some very newsy and timely, two very newsy, timely things. Brief, got the point across, funding, how you make money, et cetera. I thought it was pretty good, and I would want to probably learn more to see how maybe if you didn't have the accredited aspect to it, I would want to know what you're going to do, how you're dealing with the crowdfunding thing and how your business is evolving as that takes shape. But it could still work in that way too, even with the accredited aspect of it. So
one thing that you did, which was good, was that you gave yourself a bit of credibility at the end. I think you said you graduated from Techstars. That's one thing that a lot of people didn't do today, which I think there's, if you went to a really good school, just say I met my co-founder at this really good school. I think sort of psychologically for the reporter, it gives you that, it lends you sort of that little bit of credibility that makes you want to hear more. So you could definitely play that up.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you. Just 1 second. So that whole credibility thing is really important, right? So it's kind of what opens that email, what's in the subject. Hey, Scott Case said I should reach out to you. Sort of establishes a baseline. Says, okay, I might pay more attention to this, maybe, or not. But then it is, I've got something for you in an email or coming up to someone. So that's something we didn't talk about, but establishing that sense that you're credible. Either you're an expert in something or you've gotten something is really key. Right. So really smart. All right, who's next or who's last?
Up next is Inca.
Inca, come on up. Let's go.
Hi, my name is Joseph Bender-Duplanche, and I'm the founder of Inca. It seems to me that the more and more we use social media, ironically, the less and less we feel connected to the important people around us. So Inca is a mobile app that functions essentially like a localized Twitter or a spontaneous meetup. We boil down communication to two simple actions: shouts, which are public messages intended to establish new connections with the people around us, or whispers, which are private messages between friends that are local to you. The idea is that a lot of people in here are tweeting right now about this event, but unfortunately the vast majority of your followers don't necessarily care about this panel. So as an alternative, we could all hop on Inca and start a live group chat about this panel. One of the interesting ways we're going to be making money is through an in-app currency system called influence, which encourages active use. So the idea is you could gain influence by using the app naturally, by shouting and following others, or you might be more willing to purchase influence if you're in a high-traffic area like Times Square and you're a business that wants to promote your shouts. We rank the shouts based on how much influence in the time post that a shout, the timestamp of a shout. Thank you.
That's it. Okay. All right.
I thought the pitch was fine, or it got the point across, but I'm not sure how interesting. It seems like there's a lot of stuff in this space. I'm not sure how you really differentiate, or even how you solve that problem that you mentioned at the beginning. So I'm just left feeling a little empty there, but it was a good start.
How do you really feel? All right, Hamish.
Yeah, I probably would have played up the South by Southwest angle. There's all this crap happening in your Twitter timeline, and we're one company that can help bring relevance to it. And I guess South by Southwest is like your only sort of angle in this case, because there's a lot of companies trying to do this.
Yeah, I mean, the sort of irony is that you brought up in the beginning of your pitch that we're sort of inundated with social media and we don't know which, and meanwhile you're starting a social media company. So,
and kind of our goal is to facilitate those face-to-face interactions and get us off of the screens.
But for someone who's never heard of your company, you're just another social media company. So to lead with that and then follow up with we're another, so it's a little disjointed.
I sat here thinking about direct message on Twitter and my list, like hashtags, and saying, where are you breaking it all out from there? So, very good. We got time for a couple more?
Yeah, we're going to do 3 more.
All right, 3 more. Let's go.
This is
fast.
This is Requip.
Hi, I'm Zara, and that's Dan, and we're the founders of Requip. I'm a rock climber, and Dan's a soccer coach, and he actually started a charity with inner city youth in Washington, D.C., doing soccer coaching and mentoring. And our startup comes against a backdrop of mobile commerce and social sharing economy, which is kind of hot right now. And a good example of that is Airbnb and Hotel Tonight, where that's a peer-to-peer marketplace for vacation rentals. So the way you can think about us is we're a peer-to-peer marketplace for buying, selling, and renting sports gear. And we want to reduce the barrier to entry to participation in sports. So a good way to think about it is if Scott, is at South by Southwest and doesn't want to drive a car because parking's crazy, but wants to buy a bike. So you might want to, we want to buy it today, so you don't want to go on eBay because you don't want to deal with shipping and that kind of thing. And then there's a lot of problems with things like Craigslist as far as scams and, trying to go to the ATM and get cash. So.
All right, that was it. You got close, but here we go.
All right.
Seems like you're trying to do something very simple, lower the barrier to entry to get sports equipment. It's a good social goal behind it, but you gave a very long-winded, complicated description over there. So just cut to the chase.
There's also a lot of companies that sort of do similar things, like Zarly sort of does it, Neighborhood Goods sort of does it. I understand you're different, and this is for sports, but I think you're just, the problem for me is that you're taking a very small slice of something that already isn't that successful. So that's tough to justify a story on it.
It's actually a $150 billion industry in sporting goods, and it's 1 to 3 is used.
The companies that are doing this is very, very small.
Right. For us, it's great because cycling, triathlon, these are high-margin sports, and they're tinkerers. They're people who constantly buy stuff in and out. And so by vertically focusing, we're really able to connect with the leaders of these organizations and get one email signs up 200 to 500 people, and they really do transact on the site really fast.
Okay, cool. Requip. Good job. I got 2 more. Let's go.
Second to last, Job Hook.
All right. Job Hub.
Job Hook.
Hope.
Job Hook. We hook up jobs for the people. I'm the founder. I got Zach, who's running behind. So what we do is we allow people to refer others for jobs. It's a crowdsourcing platform which will replace the entire recruiting agencies around the world. What we do is someone has a job, they post a job, they set a finder's fee, and anyone who knows, oh, I know somebody here, I'll refer him, and he gets paid. So the regular market price for recruiting is 30%. What we have done is we have made it flexible for employers so that they can select the commission fees, which is 1 to 15%, and pay when they get hired.
Cool. Okay. Good job. Job Hook.
Before covering startups, I actually covered the recruiting space, and I have to say it seems like a long shot. Recruiters are paid to do this sort of thing, and I think it's a very challenging prospect, right. And it's also a very crowded space, and I've seen sort of things like this before, so I'm not really sure there's a story in about, it's not super interesting or super unusual, so I'm not really sure how this would work. Maybe if you had an example of a company that was really struggling to fill a position X, yes. And how Jane Doe from the middle of nowhere recommended her friend Bob Schmab, and he got hired, and an example of a real life situation of how it's actually helped. Perhaps would be a good lead-in, but
all right, now go quick comments.
I've pitched a number of job companies, kind of like yours, and one thing that I'm sort of blown away by is that no one pitches this story, which is that unemployment's really high. Here's how we're going to fix unemployment, and that's going to catch someone's interest much better than a new recruiting platform.
Anything else you want to add, or are you good?
No, I endorse that. And big crowded space, giants like LinkedIn in there. I need a more compelling reason to jump in there.
Okay, cool. All right, one more. Let's go. Thank you.
Last one is speaker, and he's the only person to ask me to introduce him, and he drove 30 hours from Toronto just to get here.
Oh, he did. All right, that was clever to use you to give extra time. Go.
So, hello. Hi, everyone. So I'm from Speaker. My name is Ken. And again, we drove through the snowstorm, 30 hours, night and day, just to come here to pitch to you guys and you. So what is Speaker? Speaker is a fun way for you to share and discover what's interesting at your current location and wherever you go. So right now, if you open up Speaker, you see exactly what's interesting around here. And wherever you go, doesn't matter, you can see it. What's going on here? I think all of us have that question, and I myself experienced that. And that's why we found this. And imagine, open your arm as a customer or user. Wherever you go, you get all this content in your fingertips. What's interesting? What's useful? What's going on here? And that's amazing. As a business, this is the perfect platform to communicate to your users, to your customers. 90% of your customers are around you. There's no way to do that. And right now is the perfect time. And that's how we make money. So target ad, which is Google try to get at. Right now, I believe that Google can't. They do have target ad, but they cannot make as much as the browser. So we are the perfect solution. Thanks.
Okay. Go. It's always good to talk about being the perfect solution against Google. Okay.
For Google.
All right, go ahead.
Complimentary.
All right, that's good. Didn't sound that way, but go ahead. Who wants to go next?
Lacking a specific example, that doesn't really, I wish you had a specific example of how this helped somebody, but it sounded like a pitch we heard at the beginning of this panel. It really didn't strike me as all that interesting or surprising. And one thing I've said a couple times about whether or not you're venture backed, if you have venture funding, that says that some people with a lot of money support you and believe in you. So if you happen to have that, it's good to say, because that makes me think, okay, somebody else out there really supports us. I don't know if you do, but I'm just not buying this. And that, if you had that, it might have helped. So just
okay. Yeah. No, we don't have enough time. Go ahead.
I appreciate your enthusiasm. I would say, like this type of company, the big play is going to get users. You need users for this to actually work, because to create that community, how are you going to get those users? We've heard another concept very similar today. How are you going to differentiate yourself?
Okay, last one.
Two quick things. Like you didn't tie us into a broader story, like contextual, localized apps and services like this are going to be really huge when Google Glass is like mainstream or something like that. So perhaps you could pitch something along those lines. But you just told us about the product. The second thing is actually I wanted to mention the venture backing stuff. Like that's probably more important for the journal. But we're very interested in venture backing as well. But if you don't have venture backing, I don't give up hope, because I'm interested in underdog stories as well, and VCs aren't always right.
Less than 2 weeks, we have over 500 intended customers and 2,000 users through the word of mouth. We haven't done any marketing.
Cool. Awesome. Well, give it up for speaker. Thank you. So thank you all for being here. Thank you guys. I'm going to give you guys the chance to give us a kind of a 30-second wrap up. Okay, you heard a bunch of stuff here. Most of the people pitching apparently weren't listening at the beginning, but you did a good job. We'll get there. But anything that struck you just listening to all this, I think we heard probably 20 different pitches in a short period of time. Stuff that sort of struck you. So I'll start with Eric in the middle, because I kind of went reverse order before.
Sure.
So go.
I would say, first thing, lend some credibility to yourself. Otherwise, it's hard to differentiate from all the other pitches we're getting. Second, I guess, like I said in the beginning, and I heard a lot of pitches with a lot of industry jargon. It just sort of you goes in one ear and out the other. And lastly, it was a point I made earlier. If you have a personal story, don't be afraid to share it. I'd say all of these publications are interested definitely in the business. That's very important, but just as important is who you are and why you're doing this, and out of all the other ideas that you've had in your life, why you chose to pursue this one thing.
Cool. Hamish?
Yeah, I think this is a little bit of an unusual situation, because you have to tell us what your company is, and it's the first time we're hearing about it. But I really would encourage everyone to think of the wider story that you want to pitch to reporters. What is the actual story that is going to affect society, or in some way, or is going to change the way business is done? And then how do you fit into that story, rather than we are the story? So sometimes it might be you getting in touch with a reporter saying, hey, this could be a cool story, we're playing in this space, but you don't even have to include us in the story. I mean, obviously we don't have to, but we respect people who are like thinking of bigger picture stuff without just thinking about their own company, and then sometimes that will mean we'll turn to you as like the expert for a comment.
That's a really great point. Sarah?
Yeah, I would just add to that, it's very unrealistic to expect a paper, like any of our publications, to do a profile on just your business. So that's why it's so important to think in the broader context. And also, if you can think of something where your business ties to something happening in the news, something very current, like somebody in the real estate space did earlier, talking about the economy. She talked about the Jobs Act. So that's also very helpful. And to reiterate the credentials, if you're VC-backed, if you went to Techstars, not talking about other publications you've been in, and just to think about what we're trying to accomplish as reporters. We're not customers. We're not trying to buy your product, although we might, but we're really writing for other entrepreneurs or something about your industry.
Cool. All right, well, thank you guys very much. And I want to thank our panelists.